Okay, that's the first question right there. It says, I have a baby and wanted to ask what I should pay particular attention to as a mother. As I understand, helicopter parents can also be the cause of attachment disorders, right? In other words, something supposedly good is actually really bad, right? So that's a great question because it all starts in childhood. This is not something that's automatically developed as we're an adult, but we all have a way in which we were raised and we all went through childhood, right? And this is exactly where we have to pay attention to how we do things, especially if we have a kid. So the main thing, I would summarize it as being an environment, a safe environment for the baby in all aspects, right? Not just in tending to the need of closeness and love, which is great and that's a great need, but also to the needs of being understood, for example, of being able to express themselves emotionally, and also to make their own mistakes and to be autonomous, to explore, to live their life. So in the end, it is to be that environment for them to be safe being who they are, even if they're angry, even if they're sad, even if they fail, even if they have conflict. And this starts as they're babies, right? Allowing them to, for example, fall if uh, if that's the case, or to play with something and then to drop it, not to protect them from every single thing, right? But to allow them to make their own experience and to learn. And this, of course, continues as they grow up and as they can understand language. And so you can explain them, for example, how important it is to make mistakes, to allow them to fail. That's so important because one of the main things here is that people develop that huge fear of making mistakes. And of course, that leads to a fear of making decisions because if they make such a wrong mistake, then it's the end. So that's in a way something that I would recommend. Now, you mentioned helicopter parents. That's a very important thing. Usually, what happens is that helicopter parents are overprotective or over controlling, and then they they have themselves a fear of making mistakes, and they pass that down to their children, and they want to protect them from anything. And what produces this is that the children, as they grow up, they are afraid of making any choice because it's fatal, right? It's the end pretty much if they do that. That's how they were pretty much programmed as kids. And so we have to cater not just for one or two needs, but for the whole thing, the whole being of that baby and that human being, and to be observant, to ask ourselves, what does my child actually need in this moment? Perhaps he needs to experience something, to go through his own uh, mistake, or perhaps he needs a hug, simply that, or to allow him to be sad. These are the things that we have to think about more and not simply respond to our own fears of feeling ourselves the pain or feeling hurt if our child is not having a good time, right? So these are some of my tips.